Yo, what's going on, everyone that is live here in this group, Facebook group, that you will get essentially the very exclusive pieces of our podcast that goes launched like in a few weeks. And today we have a special guest that's going to provide us some plug and play systems. Every single wholesaler, every single investor will need this type of plug and play systems, and we'll walk through them. We'll have this guest that essentially has helped real estate investors and wholesalers achieve this, where you need to automate, delegate, and eliminate, right? So, this is the whole goal here. And we're going to have a podcast episode with my friend here, Xavier Major, and I cannot wait for this episode to be launched. We may only have 30 minutes, but we're going to ramp it up here. We have Xavier, and we're going to start the episode right now. Okay?
It's good to be here.
Awesome. Thanks, man. All right, cool. Everything sound ready? Visual ready? Let's go.
Yep, let's do it.
No, it's sticking up. There you go.
Mic check.
I'm good.
Mic check. Mic check.
You can read about success all day long, but if you don't put in the work, the mindset, execution, and the hustle behind your vision,
Mic check.
I'm good.
Mic check. Mic check.
you can read about success all day long, but if you don't put in the work, the mindset, execution, and the hustle behind your vision, it just remains a dream.
When everything goes wrong, you have to take all the responsibility.
We uncover what high-level entrepreneurs, business owners do to rise up from hustling daily.
So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances.
The world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft.
Join me as I share with you actionable tips to help you grow your business, learn skills, and help you level up in your self-development journey.
Your number one spot for business and personal growth is the Online Hustlers Podcast with your host, Esteban Andrade.
It was going on, everyone, in another episode of the Online Hustlers Podcast, where we cover REI, marketing, and conversion. Serious. This is where I bring in high-level real estate investors and high-level wholesalers that really have made a really great breakthrough in their business and throughout the entire experience of going from investing in real estate or wholesaling real estate, flipping deals. And we have a special guest today. We're going to show you exactly the plug and play systems that are required for wholesalers and real estate investors to actually start from scratch, level up, scale up, and keep doing so. And this is really, really interesting topic because a lot of you are really wondering, like, what are my steps? What do I hire next? What marketing channel do I go for? What do I start putting my focus on? And there's a lot of questions that obviously wholesalers, in order to scale, have, because there's no proper guidance, probably that you don't have a coach, or probably the coach that you have suck. And we're going to actually take you through an entire walkthrough of the systems that have worked for multiple hundreds of real estate investors and wholesalers that they continuously grow with this. All right, so just before we start, please share this with your network. Share this with every single podcast channel. We have Spotify, we have Audible, we have Apple Podcasts, we have every single podcast channel such as iHeartRadio out there for you to share it. Also, it's going to be available in a exclusive Facebook group as a video. And we're going to chop up and cut up some of the content so that you also enjoy it on Instagram, some of the nuggets that are going to be spit here. But today I have Xavier Major, and he is based out of one of the most competitive markets because everyone is out there. Every single big wholesaler, every single big real estate investor is out there. Even iBuyers are out there, which is Arizona, which is around Phoenix, the entire Phoenix, Arizona type of metro area. This is where he actually does deals, help people out, and he's located right there. He's actually also helped with a bunch of other good people that have gotten in the show, such as Steve Trank and other people out there that play basketball and everything. So It'll be interested. It'll be really interesting here today to talk with Xavier. Xavier, what's going on, man?
What's up, man? Happy to be here. That intro got me pumped. Like I'm pumped. I'm ready to go, dude.
Let's make it happen, man. I really just want to provide as much value as possible for people to actually get those things that they're not able to get really from so many YouTube videos that are out there, and so many like misinformation that happens out there, or just like coaches that really do not actually care. So every single person that actually come in here, they care. And that's why I
Yeah.
actually bring you here, Xavier Major. Just before we go here, how can people ever, reach out or get to know more about you, Xavier, and in social media or something like that?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm probably most active on Instagram. So Xavier_Major on Instagram. It's the best place. I answer all my DMs if you have questions, stuff like that. That's where I spend most of my time. I try to TikTok, but honestly, like I'm not super good at it. So I'm building a team out to post those. But I like Instagram. It's more interactive. So find me there. You can find me on Facebook, Xavier Major on Facebook. Those are the best two places to reach out to me on social.
Xavier is one of those guys that actually takes social media, Instagram, to really provide value and put some nuggets out there. He knows the game of the algorithm, and he provides some good nuggets. If you've seen that in his social media, I hope that it actually continues growing. But let's dive in, man. You have helped already, like I don't know how many exactly, but like maybe 100 real estate investors, wholesalers.
Heard 172 so far.
172. So if you
Yeah.
see Xavier Major in YouTube, it's because he knows how to use retargeting campaigns using paid advertising. Us, we do Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising, we do Google PPC, we do TikTok. But Xavier has been able to reach his audience through YouTube. So he's not only a good real estate investor, but he's also a marketer. All right. And I believe he has created a group, the free group called the Wholesale Connection. And
Yep, that's
this is where he provides a lot of really good value. And you can also join his Facebook group on there. But now, 100 and something, man, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Having to babysit a bunch of them, I guess, or how does that work out now?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's kind of all over the map. So like where our bread and butter is, we started this company 4 years ago now. And we started out on the funnel side. So we were working with the coaches, the gurus, everyone running masterminds that wanted to run their own funnels, their Facebook ads, the YouTube ads, stuff like that to get in clients. And we got really good at that. And then we found out like there's a lot of gaps between what people were learning in these courses and the mastermind groups and stuff. And they're spending $20,000, $40,000, $50,000 on this stuff. And a lot of them just weren't getting the implementation that they needed. So my background is like I used to help companies implement these systems, from the marketing, from the automations, from the operational side. So we started the company with, hey, what if we just helped newer investors build the systems that the top wholesalers have, so they have access to all the same things. So when they're ready to grow and scale their business, they didn't have to go backwards and try and build it all out. So we have clients, across the country that have used our systems and our operations to help, just build some more consistency in their business and build an actual operation. Because a lot of people that we work with start out with, the business is just a hobby. Like I closed a couple of deals. They didn't really have any systems in place. They don't have a team and not really getting any forward momentum. So we wanted to kind of break that and adjust it. So that way, it didn't take people 2 years to get their first deal, and it didn't take them 6 more months or 8 more months to get their next deal. We wanted people to do it in a more consistent fashion so they can, live the life that they wanted, the life that I have, which is, I have 5 kids now, and I'm able to, spend, half a day taking them to the park or going, and playing in the pool because it's 102 outside in Arizona right now. That's what I wanted for other people. So that's why we built the company and started with where we are now.
What are the biggest gaps that you see from wholesalers now?
I would say the biggest gaps that most wholesalers have is they don't realize that wholesaling is marketing and sales, and they don't spend enough on the marketing. Wholesalers, when they get in the business, get so in love with real estate because technically, yes, you are a real estate investor, but people get so focused on, let me learn everything I can about, real estate investing. Let me learn about cap rates and let me learn about all the creative financing stuff, which is all great tools to have in your belt and to understand. But at the end of the day, if you're wholesaling, it's a marketing and sales organization. And if you're not spending enough time on getting real with the numbers and getting consistent with the marketing, it makes it a lot harder to do all those things down the road of building your portfolio, to doing the creative financing stuff, to actually looking at the business as an investor. That's the biggest gap that I see.
You know how I see this, man? Wholesalers actually are not doing real estate. They actually are a sales and marketing organization that's just so happens to provide real estate solution services to homeowners. So
Exactly.
that's how the mindset has to be in order for them to really successfully go and get deals and increase their volume and just ultimately succeed.
Yeah. And that's a perfect way to sum it up. I think you did a good job explaining that.
That's great. So I am pretty sure that you come in here with like a great plug and play system or specific things that you walk them through once they get help from you. I'd love to really dive into what are those systems, what are those automations, what are those things that really add a tremendous amount of value, but drastically change the way that things are doing, that wholesalers are doing, that we're not doing before.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, from start to finish, like the map that we take most of our clients through to help set them up for success is right out the gate. The first thing that we have to do is get an operating system in place. And by operating system, like people have different terms for this, but this is like the core of the business. Like if we're thinking about this as a house, like the operating system is the foundation that keeps the house up. So some people call it a CRM, some people call it contact management, whatever you want to call it. That's the first thing that we have to get set up for people, because without that operating system, without that foundation, the business crumbles. Because in real estate, all of your deals are going to come from follow-ups and multi-touches. Very rarely, even if you're running like the most targeted PPC campaigns, very rarely are you going to one call close a motivated seller on a deal. Most times you're going to have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different touches with that seller before you even get to the point where you're making an offer to them. So if you don't have a system in place to make sure that that's efficient, all of the money that you put in on the front end with marketing is just going to go out the back door and not return as profit. So we got to make sure, like, if I think about businesses as like a pipe, so we got to make sure, like, if we're dumping money in the front end, that pipe is not constricted right in the middle to where that's killing our profits. That's where a lot of people have issues, is like they'll make 20 grand on an assignment, but they don't know where to put that money. That when they put that money back into the business, it goes nowhere because it's not an efficient business. So that's the very first thing that we have to build out is an operating system. We do a custom build for all of our clients that's specific to wholesaling, specific to off-market deals, to make sure that they're able to follow up with leads, to make sure that they're able to send out offers, to make sure that they're able to take advantage all the different marketing strategies out there that work and do it in an efficient way to where they can actually turn that into revenue. So that's part one.
Love it. So, okay. So let's walk through part one just a little bit in order for me to understand, like, hey, this has X amount of automations, or these are clearly the most important things that need to be built out at first, so that they don't miss on the deals and there is no that constriction. Because a lot of people, they just get a lot of leads and they don't close deals and they don't know why, and they blame it on the leads, they blame it on the marketing, they blame it on what the hell the source is, but then they never really dive into like really what's going on in the back office.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say the first piece is like, I call it getting real. Like, you just got to get real with the business. And you have to run it like a business. So the way that a professional business owner looks at the business is based off of the numbers. So for one of my clients, they said, hey, we want to be doing $250K a month in revenue. What do we need to do? So we reverse engineered all their numbers. And even if you're doing this, like you've only closed 1 or 2 deals, you can still get a sense of these numbers. But you need to figure out, like, okay, what's your average wholesale spread? How many deals, what's the revenue number that you want to make? So what's your income goal? And then from there, how many leads does it take you to send out a contract? And how many contracts do you need to send out to get a contract signed? And what that's going to inform you is based off of your conversion numbers of, hey, this is how many leads I need per day in order to get to my target. What a lot of people are doing is they're flying blind, and they're like, hey, I haven't closed a deal this month. And then we reverse into their numbers and we look like, hey, you only made 5 offers this month. Based off of your numbers, you need 5 offers a week to get a contract signed. And of those contracts you get signed, you're only able to dispo 2 of those in that month. So if you're just not doing enough activity because you don't know the numbers, oftentimes that's where a lot of people fall. So I say in the beginning, we just got to get real with the numbers and figure out what they are. Whether they're great or whether they're bad, we need to know what they are so we know what our expectations are.
Yeah. So you know why you know this the normal distribution graph. Do you know about the normal distribution graph? That it
Yeah.
says, yeah, it says that
Yep.
a percentage is about 33. I believe it's 33% of people will amazingly do really well in specific things. And then
Yep.
there's also 33% of people that will absolutely not succeed. This is just based of data.
Yeah.
And then there's between, obviously there is the other part of it within the normal distribution. Just picture a graph just like a little hill, where they will be doing like either above average or just below average, but they'll still be profitable. How do you
Yeah.
deal with people that come in, they have expectations that they're going to be successful,
Yeah.
and you realize that probably they're lacking something, and how do you make sure that you discovered it? Like what are those things, or what those type of people that truly do not have the success in any business or wholesale business as a whole?
Yeah. Yeah. So my job as a business owner, specifically when it comes to consulting, is to help address every possible concern. So this is not something that you get with everyone, but the way that I look at it is when my clients come in, is we fill out an intake form and we figure out where their deficiencies are. So is your deficiency like you don't have enough time? Is your deficiency you're not good enough at sales? Is your deficiency you need some accountability? And we make sure that we have things in place for that, because if someone's coming to work with me, like we know that it's a fit based off of, our initial consultation with them. And we know that in order to get them success, we have to, accompany all these things that they need. So we look at all of our clients come in, have to do a basic sales training, which breaks the sales process up into 3 pieces, from a follow-up to an offer to a pitching, or follow-up to qualification, figuring out the motivations and needs to, actually pitching an offer. And what that does is it breaks the sales process down so that our clients get really good at those pieces. But for us, we can identify where the gaps are. Is your gap from qualifying to getting motivations? Or is your gap from motivations to pitching the offer, and then pitching the offer to getting a contract signed? So we can identify what those gaps are and address them. What a lot of people don't do is they don't track those numbers, so they don't know where to fix the point. So when we look at that distribution gap, what we're assuming on that is that everyone has the same capabilities, everyone has the same skill sets, everyone has the same opportunities afforded to them. And the reality is when clients come in to work with us, they're at all different ends of the spectrum. So for some people, we don't need to touch sales at all. But for some people, like they just need that accountability because they're a new business owner and they're not used to managing their time. So they need us to reach out to them every day and say, hey, you got 6 leads in. How many did you talk to? How many offers did you send out this week? So on and so forth, to address that lack in skill set that they haven't developed yet. So that's how we address it. And it's on all different ends of the spectrum. Like it could, for some clients, could be, as simple as like, hey, I just need someone to like ping ideas off of. Like, I know what to do here. I just need someone to ping ideas off of. Other people, like I said, it's the accountability piece where we have to check in with them because they're new to running the business and they just need some help managing their time. And some people, like I said, it's sales. And some people it's how do I find buyers? So we create systems to make sure that the habits they need to be successful are in place, because you're going to be more successful with a system versus willpower, because willpower fades. And if I only got 2 hours of sleep last night because my girl woke up in the middle of the night, like I'm not going to have as much willpower as I normally would be. But if I have a system that keeps me accountable, that's where I'm going to be able to win.
It's like saying like the hustle will fade out. Basically the same thing. Hustle can fade out. It's like you're at the end of the day, you're human. You need systems in order to actually grow in a smart way, right? So we're hustle media, but like what we actually also help is people using digital marketing, how to become smarter, right? That's great that you're actually doing that. I think that accountability is one of the best things that service businesses can actually provide as a value add and as a core offer, because like people just sleep on it. Like they don't understand that accountability could be the best thing that can happen to them. There was a time where there was our account success manager slash coach. Noticed that this person was not actually following up with the leads whenever the lead was telling them, hey, I need to talk to you. I need to sell my house. And then the accountability part was like, hey, I'm gonna set myself as a coach now. I'm gonna request your time, and I'm gonna request for you to look at this. And now I'm gonna have the whole authority of telling you, hey, I think that if you do these things the way that they're supposed to and follow our process and follow the system, then you will have a successful business. Because otherwise, they're gonna just go through the hustle and through the like you said, just the what was it? First will, like goodwill. I mean, yeah, just the
Yeah. So
yeah. There you go. That's pretty
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Yeah. So we have to go through that process because, as humans, like we're inherently flawed. Like we're not going to do things perfectly. So we got to make sure that there's systems in place to make sure that we can execute on the highest level. And like every successful business owner says, it's the boring stuff that is going to make you successful. And following up with leads is not exciting because everyone highlights like the big deals that they close. But in reality, like you could be doing 3 contracts a month that you get dispoed and you can be making 50 grand a month. Like that's exciting, but in order to do that, like I need 25 leads a month. That means I'm going to talk to 20 people that don't have any interest in talking to me at all. Even though they responded to my marketing, even though that they said they wanted to get an offer, the reality is like a lot of it's just boring stuff that you have to get through. And if you don't have systems and eventually a team in place to manage that, that's where people burn out.
If wholesalers want free deals, everything that they have to do is just go back to the list of leads that were already generated and have been generated past 4 months ago and have not been touched, and just reactivate them through call, through a text, through email, whatever it is that you do that you have to do in order to reactivate them. And that's free money because like you already paid for that lead long time ago. You just really didn't give the importance that you should actually give to that.
Yeah. And it sounds so simple, but if you don't have a system in place to make that easy, then it becomes hard. Like if you're managing stuff in a spreadsheet, like can you think about sitting here on your iPhone dialing 100 follow-ups each day? Like doesn't sound super fun. It's super complicated. Well, you leverage software where you can just swipe that list, throw it into a dialer, and you have 3 lines going at once, and you can dial through 100 people in an hour session.
Yeah. Hey man, what's your background?
Background. So my mom was in the Air Force. So I grew up like living on military bases, and I grew up wanting to be an engineer. So I was a kid that would like take apart all of my toys and try to put them back together. So growing up wanting to be an engineer, like I was always just trying to figure stuff out and solve problems. And then I played a ton of sports. So like I was the guy that would like try to reverse engineer defenses. Like I played football in college. So like reverse engineer defenses to figure out like where the best areas for us to attack are and stuff like that. So that's like my context in terms of like my upbringing. When I got into like working, like my first job, I worked with my uncle, and he ran a staffing software company. And he just basically told me like, hey, here's marketing, like go figure it out. And I spent time like learning constant contact and email marketing. And then I started taking marketing classes in college because I took an engineer class and I realized like I didn't really want to be an engineer. I didn't want to do all that math, but I like solving problems, and marketing was just solving problems, but more creatively in different ways. And I love to talk, if you can't tell. So I was really good at talking, really good at, speaking in public and putting together copywriting pieces and stuff like that. So I took those 2 things, merged them together, and that's how I got into marketing. And then I worked at Infusionsoft, a big software company here that has a CRM that was super confusing. And I helped like business owners like set up, email marketing campaigns and marketing campaigns. And I love that. And I started doing it on the side. And then when I left Infusionsoft, I just started freelancing and starting helping people launch marketing campaigns and started doing that with course creators and all this stuff. So there's a combination of different things, but I learned a lot of stuff along the way. And then obviously working with business owners like just ignited that entrepreneurial piece in me. Because like growing up, I always had, a little side hustle that I was doing, like whether, I was 8 or 9, I think, when I started my first business. And I had a car washing company, and my dad literally just gave me a little Tupperware bucket and some dish soap. And I went and sold a lady down the street like $20 to wash her car. And I took that and I actually bought like a bucket and some actual car wash soap. And I would just go knock doors. And if I saw someone out washing their car, I'd say, hey man, I wash your car for you. I'd save you a ton of time. Like if you want me to do it, it's $20. And I would wash their car, and then I came up with like a little menu of like upsells, like I can vacuum your car, I can Rain-X on your window, I can wax it, I can do whatever you need. And I would just sell people like that. And then in high school, I had a landscaping company, and this is when I first learned, the magic of subscriptions. So I just had everyone on subscription, where it's like, hey, I'll come cut your grass twice a month 4 times a month, and you just pay me X amount of dollars at the beginning of the month, and I'll just come cut your grass. And if you want me to edge it, it's extra. If you want me to pull weeds, it's extra. So like you combine all of those different things, and it creates a perfect storm of like someone that wants to be an entrepreneur, and then put them in a space where they're with a lot of entrepreneurs and they're really good at solving problems. Like that's kind of how I got to where I'm at today.
Yeah, it seems like you became a magician at systems, automations, and processes, and now you're helping other people do it. Like you invest in real estate. I've seen you close deals a bunch of times already.
Yeah.
Where do you invest right now?
So we're doing stuff in probably 5 or 6 different markets. We also do stuff virtual, like across the country. So we run some national ad campaigns, but a lot of our stuff we're getting from our clients, because we have so many clients nationwide. Like we have clients that'll say, hey, I have a deal in Philadelphia I need to find a buyer for. Hey, we need some, deals in Orlando. Like we work with a flipper down in Orlando. He's like, hey, I don't necessarily want to be running the marketing campaigns. I don't want to be wholesaling, but if you run the marketing for me, I'll buy any deals that meet my criteria, and you can just wholesale the rest. So that's kind of how we got into it. It's just almost out of necessity, like to solve a problem for our clients. So we started wholesaling that way. And then obviously my end goal now is, as we're starting to generating more money from that channel, is buying rental properties and starting to build some long-term income.
Yeah, get those tax write-offs.
Yeah. I'm not having any more kids, so I can't use them as tax write-offs anymore. So I got to go get some properties.
You're gonna start using the kids as advertising, as models for your company.
Yeah.
Hire your kids, hire your wife.
Maximizing all of that. Yeah.
Man, that's great. So I love for you to tell us, like, how do you do the selection of which type of marketing? Everyone that comes in to work with you, how would you choose the type of marketing that they should actually focus on?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's 100 different ways to find deals. What I look at is what's going to be the most efficient for that situation. So for some clients, like time is an issue. So like they don't necessarily want to be doing driving for dollars, or they don't want to be doing things that take a lot of their time. So we need to find a more leveraged way. Then we sort the marketing channels by budget. So it's like, okay, if you want to do something much more leverage because you don't have a ton of time, do you have the budget for PPC campaigns? No, not really. Do you have the budget for a cold caller? Well, yes, maybe if I close a deal. Okay, well then let's look at something like SMS campaigns, where the cost to get in is data, the software cost, and then cost to send out messages. So it has a lower cost, a lower barrier of entry. We can do much more marketing that's leveraged, because now I'm only responding to the people that are coming in from that campaign, and I can get deals that way. And then I can reinvest into taking cold callers or sending direct mail to my follow-ups. So we look at it that way. So for some clients, like we just recommend like, hey, go straight to PPC. Like if you have a budget of, $4,000 plus a month, and you don't necessarily want to be doing SMS campaigns, or you don't want to be doing cold calling, and you want a handful of deals a month, like just go straight to PPC, because all you're doing is just screening inbound leads. And then we just set up an automated follow-up campaign that follows up via text and ringless voicemail on the back end for those leads that don't, close within a reasonable time frame, plus their follow-ups. And then for some clients are like, hey, I want to go big, like I want to do this thing. So then it's like, okay, well, let's start out with direct to seller marketing, because we know the cost per deal, which is what we track. I don't necessarily care about cost per lead. We look at like, what's the cost per deal? We look at, let's do SMS campaigns and let's do cold call with ringless voicemail, because we can use the same set of data and we can target it 3 different ways. And then as we have people that are following up from the back end that necessarily don't close, that raise their hand, are interested, then we'll drop some targeted direct mail pieces to those people. So that's how we manipulate it. And it's just based off of what the constraints are of the business. Now, for the people that have more time, yeah, go ahead and do driving for dollars. Go ahead and do those things that are more hustle. Go door knock. If you're going to do those, like do it in a targeted way where you pull a list of, let me find the 25 inherited properties in my area and go door knock those or drive by those. Let me find the zombie properties that are in my area. Let me go drive and knock those. So there's ways to do it. It just depends on, do you want to spend time or do you want to spend money? And if you want to spend money, how much do you want to spend?
And how long are they staying with your accountability team, and how long you're staying with you right now?
Yeah. So because we're not a marketing agency, Like, we're not putting anyone on retainer and running their marketing for them. So we work with all of our clients for 3 months to get systems dialed in. And if they just want our team to stay on to be that accountability piece and basically be their marketing ops team, then they'll pay us monthly to do that and basically be a part of their team as a partner. But for most people, we work with 3 months to get the initial campaign set up, get their numbers dialed in, get their systems, get them trained up, and ideally get someone on their team trained up on how to manage and run everything so that they're self-sustainable. Because my goal all the way from the beginning of me taking on my first freelance client was like, I never want to be on retainer with a client because they're looking at me as an expense. So when I work with someone, I want them to look at me as a partner. Like, how can I add value back to my client's company? And the best way to do that is set them up with the exact systems and tools that they need to be successful, and teach them how to use it and run it so that they have the highest amount of profit as possible. And if we partner on something down the road, or, we work on another venture together, like, that's how I would rather make stuff on the back end, because the relationships are more important to me than getting, a retainer fee from someone.
All right. So you're going to introduce them to a variety of software that helps, or do you have a specific software that hey, this is what we need. This is how the process is going to go. It's systematic. It's going to continuously working for other clients, or what do you do? How do you do that?
Yeah, so our operating system is comprised of 4 different softwares. We use one for research, and now we're testing it for different marketing channels. But we use Podio as our base. We have a custom developed Podio that we build out for all of our clients. So that's software number 1. Most clients, we're going to be doing SMS campaigns. So we use Slingshot SMS, which is similar to Roar. That's what we use for our text message campaigns, because it allows us to do bulk campaigns and get messages out there quickly at a low cost. And then obviously we use DocuSign or Write Signature for our contracts. And then I'm a big fan of smartphone if you're using Podio, because now you have the tracking software, you can call sellers, but also we add in the feature of having a dialer integrated with Podio. So based off of things that are happening inside of your Podio workspace, we can add people to a dialer campaign, which just boosts your efficiency. So instead of needing 4 acquisition reps, you can do the same amount of follow-up and campaign management as, with 2 acquisition reps. So again, at the end of the day, like, I want a super profitable business, and software is what helps me do that.
Yeah, a smartphone is huge. Actually, smartphone is so good right now with Podio that even Salesforce is looking to integrate now a smartphone, because they see, they're like, oh my God, like, these guys are using this smartphone. And actually, it's recommended by other great people out there, such as Tiffany High, using Podio and smartphone together, which it's huge. Awesome, man. And so you really think that Podio is like the good software for people to stay organized with their leads?
Yeah, so the version that we build out is specific to wholesalers. So I think like we have the best setup in the industry, just because we have exactly what you need in it, and we remove all the extra stuff that you don't need. So like when I build out stuff, like, because I used to work at somebody called Infusionsoft, it was called Confusionsoft because
we got Xavier Major disconnected. Let me check him out right here. Let's
go. All right. Yeah, it looks like my camera overheated, so I'm back on the Mac here. Can you hear me though?
He is spitting so much fire that his camera actually got overheated.
Yeah, it said overheated and shut down. So I'm back on the Mac here. So I used to work at a software company called Infusionsoft, and it was called Confusionsoft because it was so confusing and hard to use. So when I set out to build the software, anything that I do, like, I want to build it so it's user friendly as possible. I never want someone to get in and be like, this is too confusing, I don't use it, because then it loses its efficiency. So everything that we do is like tested with individual people. Like, I'll go and sit in my client's office and watch their acquisition reps use the software. And if I see them not consistently not using a piece of software, I'll just delete it and remove it. Like, yes, it may be in theory on a software board good to have, or this is a cool feature or option to have that we think would be useful. But if no one's actually using it in the day-to-day business and making money with it, we get it out of there. So there's tons of different Podio platforms that are just bloated with all this stuff and all this complexity. And it's like, let's just get rid of that and have it as simple as possible. Because as long as it keeps us making money, that's all that it's used for. When a tool stops being useful, like if you have a hammer that can only hammer, a certain type of nail, like, it's not really useful to you, and you have 16 different types of hammers coming in.
Okay. right now, what's the best way that you're helping people, or your clients, the people that come in and work with you, to get actual people, to get actual rock stars that help them with the systems that you have created? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah. So, I mean, we're going to be the best bet for setting all that stuff up. That's what we do for all of our clients, is to build out these systems, help them set up their marketing. Really, I think the biggest piece that people pay us for, like the systems are great, but I think the way that we do marketing, because I've been doing it for 10 years, is kind of next level. So we look at a lot of data when we set up a marketing campaign for a client. So we reverse engineer, like, what are the investor activity in an area? How many flips are done in that area? What's the profit on those flips for the buyers that are there? Is it more buy and hold? Is it more flips? Is it more retail? So we have this whole matrix that we go through. And ultimately, what I'm looking at is per zip code in our client's target market, which area gives us the highest profit potential. And that's where we focus our marketing, where a lot of people will just go in, they'll log in a prop stream and say, hey, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. Let me just pull, 10,000 absentee owners in Charlotte and blast them out. That's good because it's activity, but it's not great. So I want to be able to, again, I want to have the biggest profit margins, because at the end of the day, as a sales and marketing organization, it's a cash flow business to allow you to pull cash out and put into other things that are going to build you long-term wealth. So if I have a business that's starving for cash on the front end, that limits how quickly I can go buy rentals. I can go buy, income producing assets. So I look at the business that way. So yeah, I mean, we're going to be the best in the industry in terms of setting up that marketing system, setting up the operating system, and also helping you out with, the sales piece, and helping you building out a team, and helping you build a system for dispositioning your properties. Because if you're sitting on deals way too long, that's going to hurt the business, because you're not getting that cash flow back into it. You can't put that back in the business to grow.
So you should look at the ROI instead of just looking at, like, hey, let me just go and blast to everything out there. So look at the ROI per marketing channel and all the nuances to go within that marketing channel, to determine like whether it's worth it or not going for it. And I'm sure like Xavier has already those parameters out there. That's pretty awesome, man. So how do you choose that? Like right now, for example, if I go to Miami, like if I am in Miami, or Miami-Dade or Broward County, how would you be able to choose like a good one that was going to give us the best ROI?
Yeah, so we use a couple of different software tools. We use Atom, ATTOM, to look at data insights there. We just started using software called Privy to look at this too as well, because they aggregate a ton of data and it's in a visual way that makes sense. But we go and look at, again, all of those factors. So we look at your past data, because ultimately, like, a business is like a fingerprint. So that's how I think about it. So we look at your data. So if you have previous closed deals in that market, that's going to be the best indicator for us, because I can look at, that deal that you got, what was the spread on it? How long did it take you to market to it? How long did it take you to, put an offer out on it? How long did it take you to close that offer, get it signed? And how long did it take you to dispo? And that'll inform me a lot more than doing third-party research. But if I'm looking at it cold, we don't have any data, I'm going to go use something like Privy to figure out, okay, what are my top 5 or 6 zip codes based off of investor activity over the past 6 months? And are they growing? Are they declining? Are the spreads big enough? What do I need to be at on percentage of ARV for buyers to take advantage of this? Is that profit potential on a wholesale deal big enough for me to make sense in this market? Because if I'm going to target an area where my average wholesale deal is, let's say, $6,000, whereas the zip code right next to it is $26,000, I want to focus all my time on that bigger area, because again, I want cash flow. Small deals are okay. There's nothing wrong with it. But if I can put myself in an area where I have a higher chance at profit, that's where I'm going to target.
Love that. Now, I'm assuming that every single one of your marketing channels that you could help set up have their own sales conversion cycle that also depends on a lot of different nuances from the team itself that is taking those leads, right?
Yep.
Which marketing channel, I heard that you go on SMS real well, has like the best sales conversion cycle, like overall has the one of the best ROIs in a faster method than other marketing channels. Like I know that all they are differentiated because of the sales conversion cycle for each one of those marketing channels, but like right now what's working, for example, like one example in one market?
Yeah, so I would say across any market, the best is going to be type of marketing where a seller is reaching their hand up, filling out a form, and saying that they want to sell to you. That's going to give you the shortest sales cycle. That's going to give you the highest profit potential because they already have a demonstrated need. So like Gary Vee talks about this all the time. Like he doesn't try to convince people that can't be convinced or don't want to be convinced. And when you're doing outbound marketing, we're just trying to find, a small percentage of people that are ready right now, whereas the rest fall into a follow bucket. That's great for building long-term stuff. But if you want a shorter cash conversion cycle, it's got to be paid ads. Google PPC is at the top of that list because someone is literally searching on Google, sell my house fast for cash. Like bankruptcy, need to sell my house fast. So those person already have a demonstrated need. And as a business owner, all we're doing is solving problems for people. Same thing with wholesaling. So if they're reaching out, filling out a form on your website saying, I have this need, I need to sell for cash, that's going to give you the best conversion percentage. It's going to give you the highest profit potential, and it's going to happen a lot faster.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the best. Facebook ads will be a second because there's still an interest there. Like people see it in their newsfeed and they're filling out a form. Obviously, because Facebook doesn't have the intent there, meaning they're not actively searching it out. The quality, so the cash conversion cycle might be a little bit longer, but it's still an inbound lead where someone's reaching out to you for a solution to their problem. And then down the line would be like cold calling because they're actually on the phone with someone that's qualifying them and making sure that they're interested. And then we have SMS campaigns. And I don't like doing broad direct mail. I like doing direct mail to more followed up, targeted list. So if I know that they're in a specific situation, I can send them a direct mail piece or to follow up a direct mail piece. But again, that has a longer conversion cycle because now I have to take that list. I have to send it through a mail house. I have to wait for postage to get to their house. I have to wait for them to respond to that. So it's not as forward as other marketing channels, but that's how I would look at it from the list from top to bottom. And then you have your other hustle means, which like door knocking is good, driving for dollars, but the cash conversion cycle is there. That's what you would do if you have, more time than money. But if you had money, you wanted to do it quickly, PPC is the way to go.
Awesome. I'm actually glad that you said that because obviously you know that we're a marketing agency for that. Now, how do you deal with that? Like if a client wants that, how you currently deal with it?
Yeah. So we just help them set up like the initials. Like if they wanted to run it themselves, like here's what I would do. But for most people that are running a business, I recommend they get someone that's an expert to do that because unless you are trained and you spent millions of dollars, on these ad platforms, there's going to be a learning curve there for you. So the best way as business owners for us to grow quickly is to figure out how can I shortcut that learning curve. And oftentimes that's by hiring someone like you guys that are experienced at doing this already. So they can just get right into like, it'd be the same as like, if you could wake up tomorrow and you wanted to play basketball, you just wake up in Michael Jordan shoes and you could dunk and you can shoot over everyone. That's what it's like hiring an expert to do something for you. Or you could wake up as yourself in the morning, never having played a basketball game, having, skating shoes on, and you're shooting on a little Tykes basketball hoop. Like the situations just aren't aligned for you. So go find someone that's already experienced in that, shortcut that learning curve, because at the end of the day is a business owner, do you want to grow and make money, or do you want to sit here all day and try to figure things out on your own?
Yeah. Think about also a kid that had really good parents that taught them like a lot of really good principles or things, skill sets that accelerated their learning curve. If they were to like try to figure out by themselves, they'll probably either not get good at it, just get okay, average, or never get good at it, right? So parents right now are kind of like the coaches, the mentors, or the experts, right? Like
Yep.
the agencies out there or the programs that really are good, because you got to check which ones are actually good, which ones actually have great case studies, which ones actually have a good goodwill in the industry and a good in the marketplace. So Matt, I'm glad that you actually have you here, because I think that we've been talking about how we can potentially use our synergy and work together here in the near future or in the future. It's awesome to see like really smart individuals like going at this and choosing to help other real estate investors and make it a business, right? Rather than just keeping it to themselves and just having their own business and maybe at some point like becoming a guru, like something like that. But like you are actually in the service/coaching business, which is, I think that it takes a lot. Like you have to handle like client complaints, you have to handle bad client expectations, you have to handle all this process that goes through human beings that have just total different mindsets and personalities. Like it takes a lot. So since you're successful at it, I actually respect it a lot. How big is your team right now?
So our team internally, we have one here based, actually two here based in Arizona. I have a partner, and then we have 4 virtual assistants. So that would be 6 people that we have on this team. And then with the other companies that I run, I think we're a total of 15 people.
Sick. What other companies you run?
So we have data partners. We have a software company that we use as well, and then also partners with on the wholesale side. So,
Nice.
well, yeah. So I found the best way for me to run businesses is to align, the best talent, the best people, because I know for me, limited in time is like as I have 5 kids and they start doing more activities, I'm not going to be able to be there to man all the ships. So I'd rather have the best possible people running those different angles, even though I can try to do it all on my own. I just won't have the time to enjoy the life that I want. So I just reverse engineered what I wanted and then built the businesses accordingly.
For people that run service businesses, or just imagine marketing agencies, or just services out there that also want to get into the real estate investing wholesaling game, but obviously there's lack of time and they haven't automated their business fully. What do you recommend so that you also have that in your side?
So you mean like if someone wants to start their own wholesale company, or if they want to start their own marketing services company?
No, if let's say someone that is doing already services and they want to do wholesale, or they want to just start going at real estate investing, right?
Yeah.
What would you recommend for someone like that?
Honestly, I mean, I learned this like after I started all this, but I think the best way to do it if you want to get into wholesaling and you already have a marketing background is partner with strategic people that are really good at closing deals, and just be the marketer on them and partner on the deals 50-50 or whatever split makes sense. Because if your wheelhouse is marketing and you're really good at it, and you have someone else that's really good at closing and negotiating deals, like there's going to be a skills gap for you to go and learn that and try to do it on your own. But I would rather have 50% of 6 deals a month versus 100% of 1 deal a month that I could probably do on my own.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm actually partnering up with ex clients or current clients or people that are within my circle that I found like, hey, like they actually are pretty good at what they do,
Yeah.
and we can do something together. So that's how I'm starting, to get into the creative financing acquisition game now.
Yeah.
Partnering up with the right people. Yeah. So awesome, Xavier. I do want to have a second episode with you because I think that you bring a lot of value and you're able to spit a lot of fire, and seems like you're really freaking smart, man. So I want to have you in a second episode. We'll probably go through and walk through some of the other like nitty gritty systems and processes, maybe automations that people can potentially do. But what are the key? What are the best key takeaways that you would recommend people, or what are the best things that you would recommend people to do in order to have a really good, successful wholesale business?
Yeah. So I would say the first thing, if you want to have a successful business, is to know your numbers. Like just reverse engineer what you want. So if your target is $20,000 a month or $100,000 a month or $1 million a month, know what numbers it takes to get you there, and focus on the leading indicators. Everyone's focused on that top line revenue number, but what's the consistent, boring daily action that you must do every single day to move the business forward, and get so freaking consistent at doing that thing that like no matter whether it rains or shines, you're sick, whatever the case may be, you hit that number. So for us with clients, it's like, hey, you have to get X amount of leads per day into your system in order to make this work. Find the best way to do that. And if that's running paid ads where you're not actively having to do that, then do that. But if you're hitting that number each day, figure out what that consistent action is for you.
Let me ask you something real quick here. What's the best way that you're currently just continuously track your numbers to the T, that you know exactly where your ROI is, where your marketing is spending at? Like, how are you currently doing that right now?
So we're doing that in our system. So as the data comes into the operating system, we use Plecto to kind of display some of those on a dashboard, but that shows us where the business is and where the numbers are. If you don't have something like that, like that's something you just have to get consistent with, like every single day in a spreadsheet, write down your numbers. So you should be writing down how many leads you got in, how many offers did you make, how many of those offers signed, how many are closed. And if you can keep track of those things and further, like there's obviously more that you could track there, like the activity on front of getting that leads, like if you're door knocking or driving for dollars, like how many houses did you pin, how many doors did you knock, like put that stuff on a spreadsheet and track that. That's going to be the best way to do it.
Okay. Do you recommend Plecto? I was about to start configuring Plecto for both my agency and my real estate investing company because I currently do Sheets and Google Data Studio. So, but Plecto it seems pretty solid for visualization.
Yeah, I love Plecto for visualization. You can use Google Data Studio because I think Plecto upped their pricing. I'm still on like an older plan with Plecto because I've had it for so long.
Yeah.
I mean, if any kind of data solution like that where you can display data just allows you, like I have Plecto on my phone, so I can just pull up my phone and look at where my numbers are for the day, so I know exactly where I'm at.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, Xavier, thank you for being here in the show. I want to have you in the second episode. Again, REI marketing and conversion. We cover everything regarding like how to be successful in your wholesale and real estate investing business and many more things. So like, I think that you brought a lot of different things, even to think about or even just to like have it as a to be continued. And if people want to actually reach out to you, again, it's Xavier underscore major. Is that right?
Yep, Xavier underscore major on Instagram.
Xavier underscore major on Instagram. You can easily find him on Instagram. And can, if people reach out to you, what's the best way? Do you have a calendar? Do you respond messages? How's that?
Yeah, I'll respond to messages, and if you need help, it seems like we can help you build things out. Then I'll drop you a calendar link and we'll jump on and audit your business. If it seems like you might not be a best fit for us to help you, like we only work with about 10 investors a month. If it seems like you're not a good fit in terms of like where you are and we can't get you a return, then I'll recommend either other resources, like your company, or other coaches or other programs or other stuff that we have to help you move the ball forward. Because I eventually want to work with you. So I'm going to give you value if I don't feel like I can charge you something and you would make a return on that. I never want to work with anyone where it's a one-sided value exchange where, they pay me and I can't get them a result. So
Awesome. Love it. Thanks, Xavier, so much for your time, and have a good one. Everyone, share this with every single person in your network and Spotify, Audible, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, even YouTube, Google Podcasts, whatever you use, we're there. The Online Hustlers Podcast with Esteban Rade, where we cover REI marketing conversion. And thank you so much again, Xavier, and have a good one.
All right, later.